morning, ladies and gentlemen. This is your captain speaking. Welcome, welcome aboard flight iOSKonf25, non-stop to the world of peer-to-peer magic. Today we'll be cruising at the altitude of 35,000 feet, right above the borders of Macedonia, but most importantly into the heart of multipeer connectivity. Our flight time is approximately 30 minutes. Sit back, relax, fasten your seatbelts, and prepare for a smooth but thrilling journey into the world of offline communication and peer discovery. So, as Daniel already announced, I'm Nikola. I've been flying iOS simulators for more than 11 years. On the picture on the slide, you can see my wonderful wife and daughter. So I'm a father and a husband. Like Daniel mentioned, I'm a big Chelsea fan. And big. You'll probably catch me watching every game they play. And last year, I got the opportunity to watch them at Stamford Bridge live. And I'm a happy person. So, what is today all about? We'll kick it off by me telling you a story about a plane trip to Dubai and what the problem was. Then we'll talk about the solution to that problem. I'll introduce multipeer connectivity that actually solves the issue. Then we'll talk, I'll show you the demo of an app that we have built that actually is the solution for the problem that we'll have. We'll talk limitations, and we'll wrap it up with key takeaways. So, what was the problem? It's both my wife, my daughter, and myself traveling towards Dubai. And from different reasons, I had to transition from the seat next to them to another seat. And during the flight, I wanted to reach out. I wanted to check how they are. I wanted to ask if they need something, but I wasn't able to do so. So I was thinking there has to be a way for me to kind of interact with someone in the plane. And I kind of Googled it down, and fun fact, over 4 billion of people are traveling every year with plane, and yet the communication is limited. So this is when the idea for Chats in the Sky was born. Now it's an app. We call it SkyChat. And SkyChat is just great. It lets you exchange messages with the people around you. And not only that, SkyChat has its air match feature. And I can't wait to tell you more about it. But first, let me introduce you the team that works on this app alongside myself. So on this slide, I have my best friend, which is Sasha Jadrowski. You will see him in the crowd, and you will also see him presenting one app later on the Launchpad. He's a wonderful person, and he's an amazing engineer, and I'm happy that I know him. And yeah, we get the chance to work together, to hang out together, and he's just awesome. Then we have my brother. Yeah, he's also here, and he's an astonishing engineer that we are happy to have in the team that works together with us. He's fully responsible for building the air match feature, and you'll see later in the demo how that works. And of course, you have me. Then, so this time, usually every time when we start a new project, we just want to open the Xcode immediately and start writing code. But this time we said, we have to make it right. So we put ourselves into the shoes of a good product owner, and we started listing all the requirements that we need to satisfy in order to make this work. So in a gist, we started writing the epics. First of all, we wanted to find available people in the plane without internet. Then we want to connect with them. We want to send them a message. We want to receive a message from them. And we want to get notified when they leave the conversation. So to make all of that possible, say hi to Multipeer Connectivity. And what is Multipeer Connectivity? So Multipeer Connectivity is a framework. That's a framework that's developed by Apple and lets you discover Apple devices and connect directly via Bluetooth and peer-to-peer Wi-Fi. What can you use multipeer connectivity for? So one of the use cases is building local multiplayer games. The most common tutorial that you'll find on the internet is the TikTok app where everyone is showcasing. Can you hear me? Test, 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 test. Now it's okay. Yeah, the TikTok app where they're showcasing how it works through multi-peer connectivity, which is the perfect example. And who knows, maybe one day we'll put it into our app so that people can play while flying. Then the offline file sharing. So the coolest thing here is that when you are connected to internet, the speed limit of the connection is your limitation when you're sending the files. However, with peer-to-peer and multi-peer connectivity, only your phone antenna is the limitation that you have. So the sending of the files is pretty instant, which is awesome. Just imagine flying, and you want to send a picture to someone in the plane, and that happens instantly. So that's just great. And the real-time chat without internet, which is what we've done. You can also use it for a classroom use case. So in a scenario where you have a teacher that doesn't want to let their students to have access to internet, however, they still want to let them communicate with themselves. So multi-peer connectivity is actually a perfect example there. Emergency communication when you don't have internet, but you still can communicate, and also for building development tools. So how does multi-peer connectivity work? So this is the part of the presentation where I kind of want to mention my parents, because I mentioned my best friend, I mentioned my brother, and it's fair that I mention my parents. So they are actually the ones that are kind of responsible for the person that I am today, and I'm extremely grateful for that. And I want to emphasize the way that my mother has taught me to learn new things, and she's a teacher. And what she's doing is she's usually teaching new things through stories. And before I complicate this, I'll start explaining multi-peer connectivity through a story, and I'll give you a tour how I understand it, and hopefully you will understand it as well. So, a story of a connection. When we think of multi-peer connectivity, I'm thinking of it as a factory. As a factory that actually moves around. Think of it as a truck that has a container behind it, and people work in that container. So we have Ivan. He's the most traditional manager in this factory, and we call him Ivan the manager, and without him, nothing works. So he's the one that opens the factory, he's the one that lets everyone inside, he's the one that lets everyone go. Then, next to Ivan, we have Brenda. Brenda is one of those colleagues that you love to have around. Not only that she's polite, but she's super hardworking. And she's the one that is constantly looking for other factories nearby. That's why we call her Brenda the browser. We have Adam next, who is the one that is like super hyperactive in the morning, the loudest one, and that's why he got the responsibility to announce to everyone that we are a multi-peer factory, and this is actually the service that we are offering to everyone. Adam, the advertiser. And at the end, we have Sally. Sally, the session. So she's the one with the wonderful handwriting. She's the one signing all the papers. And as you can see, even Ivan had to lose his mustache when he's next to her. So, yeah, that's a story of a connection. And if we kind of try now to think in terms of peers, just imagine that we have peer A and we have peer B. So they're advertising and browsing at the same time. And it's a complete coincidence who discovers the other one first. In our scenario, let's say the peer A, which is the first factory with Ivan A, and they discover peer B first. The next step is that they send an invitation to this peer. Once the invitation is sent, Adam can choose to accept the invitation. You will see later on how that's done. And we have Sally at the end to sign the papers and to have the session established. And just like that, we've covered all the key components of multi-peer connectivity. So the MCPR ID, Ivan, Adam, the advertiser, Brenda, browser, and Sally, the session. Let's look at each one of them in more details. So Ivan is the one that is the peer in the multi-peer session, like we already said. In order to create it, you just need to pass a string to it, and just like that, you will have a peer ID. And the peer ID, even if you use the same name, so if you have peer, which is Nikola, and another peer which is Nikola, they will still be unique. So, and what is extremely important is that you store your peer ID so that you have a stable peer ID over time. Because the next time you open your app, you want to be identifiable for the others, and you want them to recognize you. You don't want to create a new peer ID every time you open the app. So how does the initializer looks like? You just pass the display name, which is a string which is required. Then we have Adam, or the nearby service advertiser. He's the one that is publishing the advertisement, and alongside that, handles the invitation through the delegate. So how to create it? So you pass the peer ID, the discovery info. This is something that is optional, but you can still use it to send some data. So for example, what we are using for, or considering using for, is to pass along your own ID, so that the next time you update the peer name, because when you update it, a new one is created, you can kind of merge all the data that you have for that peer ID. And for example, in the recent chats, you can have them even though they change their name and their service type, which is extremely important. And it's a string that should be unique for your app. Then we have Brenda, or the nearby service browser, and it searches by service type for nearby devices, and it provides the ability to invite devices to a multi-peer connectivity session. How we create it? We pass along the peer ID and the service type. And last but not least, we have Sally the session. So in order to create Sally, you will see how does the initializer looks like. We are passing along the peer ID, the security identity. So this is something that we are not using, but over here you can pass along an array of certificates, and in order for you to have a more secure communication, you can leverage this as part of the initializer. And the encryption preference, it's something that it's strongly recommended for it to be required, so that you don't end up with someone intercepting your messages and being able to kind of see what your users are passing along or sending among each other. So how to do it yourself? Where do we start? You start with the plist. And the first key that you add there is the NS local network usage description in order to explain why do you need the local network access. And of course, the Bonjour services to add the custom service type. There is a specific format in which you need to add your service type. And for us, it's SkyChat service. And this is something that you need to be mindful of, because if you use some generic name, you might end up in a scenario where you kind of discover some that might be highly unlikely, but it's possible to discover someone else who has the same name for the service type, and it's like searching or browsing. And if we start with the next task after the plist setup, is the fact that you need to create your peer ID. This method is something that we'll see on the next slide, but in a gist, what it does, it either loads or creates the peer ID. After that, we create the session, the advertiser, and the browser. We set up all the delegates, and we start listening and browsing. And it's as simple as that. After that, or just to cover the method before that, what we do is if there is an existing peer, we just return it. If not, we create it and we store it. What is important is because the peer ID confirms to a secure protocol, you need to archive it and unarchive it. So as you can see, when we are loading it, first of all, we are loading it and then we are unarchiving it. And when you are storing it, you are archiving it and then you are storing it. And the first step where everything starts is the browser delegate with the found peer method being fired as soon as you discover a peer. So what I've noticed here, even though it's not stated anywhere into the Apple documentation, actually it's possible for you to discover yourself. So this is a state that you need to handle, does the guard, and then we are inviting the peer. So as you can see, Brenda, or the browser, is the one that it's inviting the peer to what session? To the session that we created. Context is something that over here we are passing along a nil, but you can use it, for example, if you have a UI that actually shows like an invitation, and you can accept it or deny it. In the context, you can have like a greeting message or something that identifies yourself. And then the timeout. The handling of the discovered peer is something that we are using to update the UI. So first of all, because of all the duplicates that can appear, and this is one of the drawbacks for multipeer connectivity actually, we want to check if you've already been found. If not, we create that peer and we update the UI with that info. Another delegate methods that can be fired from the browser are the losing of the peer. So whenever the peer is lost, you need to handle that and you need to update your UI with that data. And yeah, with that, you will notify the end user that the person that you chatted with or that was just online, it's now gone and you need to wait for the next time they come online so that you can continue your discussion. Then the invitation handling is something that we all know how conservative Apple can be at the times, but over here with multi-peer connectivity, the good thing is that they are actually allowing us to automatically accept the invitation. In our use case and in our app, that's extremely like helpful because we don't need to show the user the first time they connect, is this the person that you want to connect with? Because for our use case, that defeats the purpose of the point of the idea. But if you have a scenario where you want to handle this, you don't need to pass along true by default. You can wait from the user feedback and then accept the invitation. Another thing that Apple has here, unfortunately, it's a little bit outdated. It's a full controller that you can actually use that handles this acceptance, this invitation, and all of it automatically. The drawback into usage of the DAT controller is that it's okay that it's written in UIKit. We all, even if we are using Swift UI, we all love UIKit, of course, but you cannot modify the UI. It is like it is. And that's why we're not using it, and we are handling all this manually ourselves. Then we have the session delegates. The session delegates is the session delegate is something that has the did change method that is fired, and that can go through a couple of states. So the first state is connected. Of course, that's when your user is connected. And what we are doing here is the first message whenever you connect with someone is by default to send your profile picture. And we are sending that message without the content, and you'll see how we are handling that message when it's received, so that we can show the profile picture of the users and they can see who they are chatting with. Then you have the connecting state. Like you can see, we are not using it, but maybe in the future, if we have some loader or I don't know what, you can use it. We have the not connected state, and next we have the sending of the chat messages. So when you're sending a message, you can either send the message to one of the peers, or you can send it to everyone. With the features that we currently have built, we only have the possibility to send that message to one of the people that you have available for chatting. And as you can see, first we are checking whether the session already has that peer as a connected peer. If it has, we are creating the payload and we are sending the data through the session. We are sending it with a reliable method where Apple guarantees you that this message will end up to the peer that you want to send it to. And we are just updating the UI about that change through our services that we have. And as I already told you, in the did receive method, we are actually handling the data. So the first thing that we are doing is we are decoding the picture and we are updating it into the UI. And if it's not a picture, then it's a message. We are decoding the message, updating the UI through our services, and you can see it yourself when you're chatting with someone. So what is the order of the events when you have this kind of communication? That's actually something that we covered through the delegates, but just to sum it up, first, the browser is firing the found peer delegate. Then we have the advertiser firing the did receive invitation from peer delegate. The next one in line is the did change method from the session with the connecting state. Then we have the connected state also from the session. Then it's the repeated messages that we are sending through the did receive method also in the session. And at the end, if we lose a peer, whether they moved away from from the connection area within the distance that you can have the session ongoing, or whether they, I don't know, turn off the Bluetooth, the did change not connected state is fired. And next, I'll want to show you the demo. And you will see what we've done. In the demo, that's something that we've... let's just see. Let me do this. I can see it on the monitor down here, but I don't know why we are not seeing it. Let's see like this. What will happen? A little bit of technical problems. Maybe we need to, if we turn off this one, what will happen? Okay. Okay. So yeah, this was on purpose just to get your attention before we move with the demo. Yeah. So let me show you what we've developed so far. So as you can see, this is our greeting screen where we don't want you to be a mystery flyer. We want to actually get to know you better. We want to get your full name. We want to get your picture. And as you can see, we're using the simulators and the wonderful pictures that they are there by default. I'll be entering here my birthday. And yeah, take notes if you want to send presents. Yeah, after that, we'll be moving to our main screen. And this is our home screen. And this is where we actually have spent that much time that actually we feel actually like home. And it has some empty states, of course. In the onboarding session is where you will find the people that are available for you to chat and interact with. And inside of the recent chats, you will see all the history of the messages that you have exchanged with everyone. So now we'll be transitioning to the main deal or the chat itself. And you will see how it looks like when we are exchanging messages. The first thing that I want to show you by circling here the Wi-Fi is that your Wi-Fi needs to be on. However, as you can see, I'm not connected to any of the networks. So even though, yeah, I don't have internet, you can see how I will be able to exchange messages between the two devices. So I'll just start writing, "Hey Nikola," you'll see how that message is immediately transferred to the other device. And I'm not just saying that, it just works great and it's super fast. And you will see now I'll be exchanging a couple of messages so that you can see that it works in both directions. Once I'm done having fun with chatting with two different people while doing that myself, you will see how that messages are there into the recent chats. So there is a history of the messages. We were thinking whether we want that feature, but actually that might be super useful because you might exchange some messages with someone, I don't know, share some details, some contact data, and want to go to that after you are boarded off the plane. So that's why we introduced the history of the chats. And this is our flight screen. Our plans for the flight screen are super huge. And kudos to the Flighty app, which is our main inspiration, to be honest. And this is where, right now, we are adding this data, or actually the user is adding this data manually, as you can see. However, our plans for the future, and we are already working on introducing one of the APIs that is offering this, is for you just to enter your flight number, and we'll automatically gather all the data that we have for that, and we'll just display it there. And the super cool thing is that we've seen, and we actually tested this, and we were like super surprised when we saw that it actually works for Flighty, is when your gate, actually you will receive a push notification about your gate even before it appears on the monitors. So that's awesome, at least for me. Then we have the air match feature. So think of it as Tinder for Tinder inside of your plane. So we're working super hard on this, and our hopes are super high. Hopefully one day we'll become millionaires from this feature. So yeah, fingers crossed. Yeah, and as you can see, our user is accepting everyone. This is on purpose. This is on purpose, like made to be slow, so I can show it to you. It works way faster in real life. And then when they match, they have the option to start chatting with that person or talk later. Right now, this is not covered within the purchases, but of course it will be. So yeah, that's where we'll use Revenue Cat. It goes without saying. And yeah, with that, we've covered the demo for our SkyChat app that we have super high hopes for. And now, getting back to the presentation, you can see it. That's awesome. I told you it was on purpose the last time. And how it could happen as well. The wonderful Guillermo Rambo, he has developed a wrapper on top of Multipeer Connectivity, which is called Multipeer Kit, that makes your life super easier. So you can go ahead and use it. These libraries, yeah, well done, and it's something that is used from a community quite a lot. So I encourage you to use it if you don't have time to implement it manually yourself. What are the limitations that Multipeer Connectivity has? Once you go in background, the session is gone. And first of all, we thought, okay, this is a deal breaker. This is where we need to stop. If we go in background and the session is gone, then why would we even have this app? But us being from the Balkans, of course we found a way how to keep the session alive when you're in the background, and we actually have a valid reason for it. What we did, we introduced live activity. So with live activity, you are keeping the session alive, and we actually have a valid reason to have a live activity. You can see the progress of your flight. You can see where you are, and what is the time left for you on that flight. And then we have a limited range, but this actually works for us. If you Google down, you will see the biggest cabin in an airplane is less than 80 meters. So that's great. One session can have a limit of 8 peers. Of course, we found a workaround for this as well, and you can fit in up to 50 people with. Yeah, it's like a complex solution where you have an array of sessions and you introduce this kind of a mesh network, but it works. And one other limitation is the no built-in retry logic. So that's something that you need to take care of yourself. We have the fact that it's only compatible with Apple devices. But this is something that if this app actually works, so far we have a pitch with Wizz Air, so fingers crossed that that will go well and that, yeah, it will work, and then we'll have to develop a companion for Android, and then we'll, yeah, need to figure it out. And to sum up everything, what we've learned today is who are Ivan, Brenda, Adam, and Sally, and hopefully that was easy for you to remember, and hopefully when you think of multiplayer connectivity, you remember all these wonderful people. The coolest thing is that you can use simulators for testing, but not only that, you can use a combination of a real device with a simulator. And when we realized that, that was such a relief, because we were gathering everyone's iPhone around us. We were super annoying whenever we see someone that, okay, come here to test this. But when we realized that simulators can come into the picture, that was amazing. Remember to add your company name in front of the service type so that your service type is unique. Persist your MCPR ID so that you are identifiable to everyone else. And prepare for disconnects. One other thing that I didn't know where to put it, whether on key takeaways, whether on limitations, whether not to put it, and then I didn't put it anywhere, but I wanted to mention it, and we talked about that with Jeff yesterday quite a lot, is that there are some ghost sessions that can appear. And that's one of the bugs that multipeer connectivity has, and we have to live with it. So far, we haven't found like a workaround over that, but considering how wonderful team members I have, definitely we will come up with something for that. And with that, I want to say thank you. And if there are any questions, I'll be happy to answer them.